Greetings and salutations. Thank you for lending an ear to The Voice of the Times for Thursday, September 9, 2021. For today's editorial, Incompetent or Just Inexcusable? The comedy of errors performed by the government on Tuesday, which culminated in the abrupt after-business hours announcement by the Interagency Task Force for the Management of Emerging Infectious Diseases that Metro Manila, despite earlier notifications, would remain under Modified Enhanced Community Quarantine or MECQ until September 15, was completely inexcusable. We are still trying to decide if it was also a demonstration of gross incompetence. To refresh everyone's memory, the IATF-EID had announced as early as Friday last week that at the expiration of the latest community quarantine period on September 7, Metro Manila would be upgraded to a hybrid form of General Community Quarantine or GCQ with a new 4-tiered alert level. Instead of imposing a lockdown on everyone, the system would rely on granular lockdowns of specific areas with high numbers of COVID-19 cases, and thus allow most economic activity to resume while more effectively managing the pandemic. It was made clear at the time that implementation of the new protocols was subject to President Rodrigo Duterte's approval. That approval was given sometime late Monday, sparking a flurry of activity among small businesses eager to get back to earning a living as they spent most of the day on Tuesday preparing to reopen. There were already signs of trouble throughout the day on Tuesday, however, with various officials issuing conflicting statements about what the new guidelines would entail. Then in the evening came the shocker. The IATF-EID announced it had deferred the start of the new system until September 15. In a roundabout way, the admission was eventually made that there had apparently been no briefings or coordination with local governments on the new protocols, and that many questions that had been raised about details of the new system had not been addressed. That excuse is completely unacceptable. Any executive in the private sector who conducted planning in such a haphazard way, or tolerated it from his staff, would soon find himself updating his resume and filling out job applications. What the administration has failed to grasp throughout the long months of the pandemic is that consistency and clear communication is the key to securing the cooperation of the people and making pandemic response measures effective. We stressed that in our editorial yesterday, and the events on Tuesday indicate that the point needs to be made more vigorously. The damage from the announcement and hasty deferral of the new community quarantine guidelines has already been done. What the government must focus on now is making the new system work properly after September 15, which it certainly should be able to do given the extra time in which it can properly coordinate with all the concerned agencies and local government units. Along those lines, we have a few suggestions to achieve the desired effect of better controlling the pandemic while allowing as much safe activity as possible. The government should simplify the thoroughly baffling alphabet soup of quarantine classifications: ECQ, GCQ, MECQ, and so on. The 4-level alert system, with level 1 imposing the least restrictions and level 4 the highest, depending on the severity of the pandemic in a given area, is a good idea. It is easily understandable by the general population and, at least as it has been prepared so far, clearly explains what each level means in terms of what activities are allowed or prohibited. Along with a granular lockdown plan for COVID-19 hotspots, it seems to us that dispensing with community quarantine classifications altogether and instead using the 4-level system, which is already a familiar format for Filipinos used to tropical storms, would resolve many of the communication handicaps the government has evidently been suffering. Relying on this simpler, more easily enforced system would also allow the government to drop other ineffective restrictions, such as the world's only mandate of face shields and keeping those under 18 or over 65 years of age under virtual house arrest. Whatever risks might arise from eliminating these two hated and as a consequence almost universally flouted rules will be easily managed through the proper implementation of the 4-level system and granular lockdowns, making them unnecessary and greatly improving the public mood by their removal. And that's the editorial for Thursday, September 9, 2021. For more news and information, get a copy of the Manila Times on print, subscribe to its digital edition, or log on to www.manilatimes.net. Follow us on Twitter, Facebook, or Instagram, and listen to The Voice of the Times.